Hello friends, my name is Alea of Cozy Crochet Co, where I show you how to crochet the cozy way. And in today's video, I got a very special video request from my sister-in-law. She has started her crochet journey, and one of her first projects, she wants to do like a ruffle bucket hat, which I think is a great first project. You learn so many fundamental techniques that are really important, really for any project. Magic circles, counting your stitches, crocheting in the round, increasing, decreasing. So I'm going to be showing you all of that in today's video. So if you're interested in crochet and yarn content, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Also, like this video if you found it helpful, and comment down below if you have absolutely any questions, or if you have a video request. I would love to do that for you. This channel would be nothing without my supporters, so thank you so much for everybody who contributes to the channel. If you would like to support the channel, buy me a coffee, and I will shout you out in my next video. Alright, so with all that out the way, let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm just using some worsted weight yarn and a 6mm crochet hook from Furls. If you're interested in this hook, I will link it down below. And the first step, we're going to be doing the magic loop. Doing a magic loop can be a little bit tricky, but if you practice a few times, you'll get it. And it's a very good technique to have. So to start off, you're going to lay your yarn across your palm. Take your pinky and your ring finger and hold the yarn. So, and then you're going to lay your yarn diagonal across your two fingers. Take your working yarn is what's attached to your ball of yarn, and you're going to pull it across your finger like this, straight. And then you're going to make an X across your palm, and then take your working yarn and pull it diagonal. So then these two yarns are parallel, and then you're going to put it, close this hand so you have tension, and your working yarn is right here. All right. I'm going to do this next part very slowly. You're going to take your hook, and your hook is going to be facing downward. You're going to go underneath the first string of yarn, over the next string of yarn. Pull it through. Take your hook and twist the yarn. And now you're going to want to, this is the hard part, you're going to want to take your hook and grab your working yarn and pull it through that loop. The hard part is over. You could take your fingers out. And now, depending on your pattern, I'm doing double crochet, so I'm going to chain another one. And that's going to lock in the magic loop. So now you have your chain of 2, your magic loop, and the end of your yarn. Now when we're crocheting in the round, we're going to be going one way. So you're going to want to make sure that you're crocheting towards your left. So the tail of your yarn should always be in your left, towards your left. On the left hand side. That sounds much better. So I'm going to go ahead and do a double crochet. I'm going to yarn over. You're going to take your hook, put it inside the loop, encapsulating the end of your the end of your yarn. We're going to yarn over again. So now we have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, pull to another 2 loops. So now you have your chain and you have your first double crochet. I'm going to do another double crochet. You're going to yarn over, put your hook inside of the loop, pull up a loop, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through another 2 loops. So now I have 2 double crochets in my chain. Now depending on the pattern, they're going to say count your chain as a double crochet. For the sake of this tutorial, I will not be counting my chain as a double crochet. So I'm going to be doing 6 double crochets in total. So I'm going to go ahead and do 4 double crochets. You know what? I'm going to do 8. I feel like that's the most common for hats. So I'm going to do 8. I'm going to just add 2 more. So now we have 8 double crochets in our chain. All right, so now to close up our magic loop, this is where the magic happens. If you did it right, if you take the end of your yarn and pull on it, it's going to make a circle, a nice uniform circle. Don't pull it too tight because you can break your yarn. Just pull it enough to close it. And so we have something that looks like this. To close it, we need to identify our turning chain, because we're going to put a slip stitch in the top of that turning chain. So if you look at your piece like this, your turning chain is right here. We're going to be going through the top of it right here. So take your hook, insert through the top of the turning chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through that loop. So that's what it looks like. So now that we have completed our first row, we're going to go into our second row, and we're going to start that off with a chain of 2. So we're going to be doing our first round of increases. I'm going to show you where we're going to put our increases. So you're going to be putting your increases in all of these stitches right here. So there should be 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to be putting 2 double crochets in each of these stitches to do your increases. Yarn over, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And now we're coming up on our last 2. Make sure you're putting it in this last stitch. 1, 2. All right, so it just looks something like this. So if you count these double crochets, not including your turning chain, you should have 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We identify the top of our turning chain, which is right here, through this loop right here. And we're going to put a slip stitch in that stitch to finish off our second row. And there you go. So it's going to look something like this. Now what's going to be really important to keep your stitches, and you're going to see that it's going to curl up a little bit. That's because I have really tight tension. But as long as you do your increases correctly, it should lay flat for the most part. I'm going to do another row of increases. But this row of increases is going to be different. We're going to chain one. We're going to chain two, sorry. And now in the first, so now that you have your 16 stitches, in your first stitch, you're going to put 1 double crochet. And then in the very next stitch, you're going to put 2 double crochets. This is what we call an increase. Just like in the last row, we put 2 double crochets in each stitch to increase it. In this row, you put 1 double crochet, and then in the next stitch, 2. Then in the next one, you're going to put 1 double crochet, and then you're going to in the next stitch, you're going to put 2. Next stitch, 1 double crochet, in the next stitch, 2. And you're going to continue that pattern until you get all the way around till you get back to your starting chain or your turning chain. All right, so I had just finished my second row of increases, and we have 24 double crochets. So the way you should know that you have the right amount of crochets is, of course, it has to be divisible by the number that you started with, so 8, and we have 24. Also, if you start with a single if you start with a non-increase or 1 stitch, you should be ending with a increase or 2 stitches in the last stitch, if that makes sense. So if we look closely, that's going to be a tip. That's how I know I put the correct amount of stitches in. I have my chain, I have 1 stitch, and then at the end, the last stitch before I do my join, I have two stitches or an increase. That's one way I know for sure I have the right amount of stitches. All right. So now to do the next row, I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the chain, and to start the row, I'm going to chain 2. Now this is where my tip comes into play. We're going to go ahead and put in 1 double crochet. In the next stitch, you're going to put another 1 double crochet, and then in the next stitch, you're going to put 2 double crochets for your increase. So it's going to be 1, 1, and then 2. Now, how do you know that you're putting your increases in the right position? If you look at where your increases are, you're going to see that you're putting your increases or your 2 stitches in the last stitch of your previous increased 2 stitches. So you notice how in this row we have our chain right here, our single our double crochet, and then our increase. In the next row, your increase is going to be at the last stitch of your previous increase, if that makes sense. And that's where all your increases from here are going to go, in that stitch. I'm going to finish off the rest of this row, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. I feel like that's going to give you a better visual of what I'm saying. All right, so I am back after doing my last row of increases. As you can see, it's a little bit curly, but that's just because of my tension. So now I'm going to show you and I'm going to zoom in a little bit and kind of show you what I was talking about, where if you're confused as to where to put your increases, or if you lose count in any way, this is the tip that I like to show everybody. So this is your chain right here. So we're not counting that. You have your regular stitches, your regular standalone stitches. If you see, this is an increase right here. This is also an increase, but we're not going to look at it. We're going to look at this one. This is an increase, and this is an increase. So your increases are going to be in that second stitch, on the top of that second stitch from the previous increase. If you look, it's like that all the way around this piece. So here's an increase in the second stitch of the previous increase, and then you have one. Here's another increase in the previous stitch of that second increase. Sorry, here's another increase in the previous stitch of the second increase, right? And then we have one, another increase in the end of that second increase right here, and the previous increase. Then we have one, your other increase, another increase, one, increase, and the second stitch of the previous increase, one, then your increase in the previous stitch of your second increase. Sorry, in the previous increase of your last row. one, your increase in the second stitch of your previous increase in the last row. One. We ended on one stitch. We're going to end on a increase. You're always going to end on an increase, or depending on what you did. So if you start with the increase, you're going to end with the single stitch, if that makes sense. So looking at this, that's how it's going to work for the rest of your work. And you can use this tactic as long as you remember that your increases are going to be in the second stitch from the previous row. Then your increases will always be in the correct spot and you don't have to count. I would still recommend counting, but using this tip, you don't have to count. Let me know in the comments down below if that was clear or if you need more clarification. But I'm going to do a blog post with more pictures and probably more detail, and hopefully it explains it better. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it very, very helpful. If you liked today's video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out in the algorithm, and it gets everybody else to see the video as well who may find it helpful. And as always, create something gorgeous. Bye guys.